Plaintiff Jody Peterson says she met the defendant when he worked on a crab fishing boat with her son and boyfriend in Alaska. Jody claims while on a fishing trip, both her son and the defendant were injured and therefore were no longer able to work. So she gave the defendant a loan, but she's suing because he has yet to repay her. Defendant George Keswick has been fishing for 40 years, and he claims it's an extremely dangerous job. George claims after he and Jody's son were injured, they both filed a lawsuit. But because Jody's son is a pathological liar, George's chances at winning a large settlement were ruined. He's countersuing Jody for slander.
Start with you.
Your Honor, I met George in 2013. In 2014, he was on a fishing boat called the Scandies Rose in Alaska, crab fishing with my son as well as my boyfriend. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Deadliest Catch. The Discovery Channel puts it out, but that's what they do.
Looks interesting and dangerous.
Yep, it's a great depiction of how dangerous it is. And
so you all live in Alaska, obviously, or did you just go there to work?
Actually, my father took me there when I was 14 years old, and I lived there on and off for a while.
What part?
Dutch Harbor, out in the Aleutian chain. When I went there, there was nothing on the island except the airport. In 2014, George was on the boat with my son and my boyfriend fishing. Again, it's a very dangerous occupation. I've known a lot of people that have lost their lives throughout that. My family has always fished. My father was a boat owner and out there his whole life.
Any of your family members?
No, we've been very blessed that way.
Let me hear from you some background about the industry that you're in. And
well, yes, Your Honor, I've been fishing most of my life, about 40 years, but last 25 years I've been fishing in the deadliest catch industry and on many boats.
What brought you to Alaska?
Just fishing. I started off in the small waters of Louisiana and Cajun country.
It's a lot warmer, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Fishing, that's a drastic change.
And I decided to make the change. I wanted to go up north and do the big waters. I don't know what it was. It was a lot of freedom, a lot of danger, and this is where I met the family of the plaintiff. Her boyfriend was my foreman.
So what's the pay range to do this type of work?
It could be from 0 to 100,000 a month.
A month?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you get a bad captain, doesn't catch nothing, everybody's doomed. You know, if you get a bad engineer, he sinks the boat. I mean, it all depends. I mean, it's anybody. It could be drugs on boat.
What percentage of those fishing are indigenous?
It's very international business. There's a lot of Norwegians in it, a lot of Swedish people, a lot of Scandinavians, should you say. But this particular captain, he wanted to have a local guy, a Aleut, as they call him, for good luck. And we always had the local guy on board. And it was always good luck. And
that's why you're still alive.
I think so, Your Honor.
Because of the indigenous people, that's right. All right.
It goes back to Russia. We bought it from Russia. It's still a lot of Russian. Yeah, it's a lot of Russian churches there, Orthodox. A lot of that stuff is still unchanged. A lot of names are Russian names, islands. You know, stuff like that. So there's a lot of history.
No wonder, who was that? Sarah Palin said she can see Russia. Can you see Russia?
I was way up in Aleutian Island. I was way up in Aleutian Islands, like 800 miles around the corner, and I still couldn't see it.
2014, George was on the boat with my son and my boyfriend fishing. Again, it's a very dangerous occupation. I've known a lot of people that have lost their lives.
Plaintiff Jody Peterson says her son worked on a crab fishing boat with the defendant, and she claims it's such a dangerous job that her son nearly died when he was hit in the head with an 800-pound fishing pod.
Why are you suing George?
Well, in 2014, Your Honor, George was, as I stated, was on the boat with my son. On the first trip, the pots that they use to catch the crab, Your Honor, are over 800 pounds. And a pot came up, and through the process, my son was hit on the head with the pot.
800-pound pot?
Yes. Of course, he went down, it knocked him out, and he was injured. At that time, he no longer was able to fish to finish the season. So skippers, typically, they won't take you into town, probably if you die. They just have to finish the season or finish that trip.
Is that true?
All depends.
If you could be saved, they'll continue for the sake of the financial benefit?
It's agreed, Your Honor. It's all about money. It's all about money.
So
when a boat makes $200,000 a day, you'll stop at nothing. Money. It's all about money.
I hope and pray that doesn't happen often.
It's sadly, but it's true.
Oh, your son was injured, and so what
My
happened?
son was injured, and he was unable to fish any longer during that trip. And then I believe it was a couple days later, George was injured.
Okay.
On the
And
same trip.
What does the loan come in?
The loan comes into when the boat came into town, they both got off the boat and were unable to go back, so they had no income. You're not paid the season, you're not paid anything. The insurance pays a very small amount of money until it's settled, however it's settled. They ended up flying home. In February, George came to me and asked me if I could loan him money due to the fact that he was going to lose his new truck and be evicted because he hadn't been able to fish, and that he had an attorney and would be going through a lawsuit and would be able to pay me back no problem. So I felt comfortable from what my boyfriend had told me, that he was a very ethical guy, that it was okay. I didn't know.
When was that?
That was in February of 2014.
All right. And when is the last time you asked for your money?
September.
And what is he telling you when you
That
ask?
I'll get it when he has it.
He's been telling you that for 2 years?
Yes, over 2 years, Your Honor.
And the deadline was when?
The note that I have states April 30th, 2014,
Okay.
that I would be repaid.
Sir?
Well, this story sounds good, but she left out a lot. We had the whole lawsuit, Your Honor. You know, that lawsuit was lost because of her son. You
How
know,
so?
He was a pathological liar. This guy could not stop lying.
What does that have to do with me?
He came and he couldn't stop telling stories. We got off the boat. I told one story. He told 10,000 stories.
And this was for
like,
the purpose of winning a lawsuit.
My lawsuit, yeah, it was like a $700-some thousand. He's suing for a couple of million, and this guy cannot stop telling stories.
So
So
what
my
happened?
lawyer asked me to go talk to this guy to stop lying. He's going to ruin us all. And of course, he didn't do it. So his lawyer, his team forfeited the lawsuit, took whatever they could, you know,
They
like small
settled.
money.
Settled.
Settled for nothing.
What happened with your
So
lawsuit?
I mean, he's not getting nothing for head injury. What am I going to get for my knees? Nothing. My
That's
knee
a good
injury.
point.
So after the case
Your
was...
son suffered head injuries. Is
Oh,
he
yeah.
all right? Is he recuperating, or is
He's
it
no
going to be
longer can fish, no.
permanent damage?
Correct.
Sorry to hear that. Go
As
ahead.
now that I was out of my plan B and all, she offered to help. She wanted it. She felt guilty. It was her son that killed us all.
Oh my
She gave him $30,000. I don't think he even got it, $30,000. And she forgot I saved this man's life. He wanted to go back on the boat. They all wanted to get back on the boat. I told him, I said, you get back on that boat, you a dead man. They injured that man. He had a concussion, and they put him to sleep for 20 hours. That's something that you don't do.
Tell me about the loan.
She wanted to help, and then she changed her mind, and she wanted the money. Then she changed the numbers. I wanted 4%. I want 2,200. I want 5,000. I want the 4% interest. And so now what is it now? 2,500?
You signed a document saying I agreed to repay Jody Peterson the amount of $2,000.
Your Honor, when we talked on the phone, she offered to help. It was on the phone. It wasn't like...
Why did you sign this? You can't
That was like
sign
3
over the
days-
phone.
No. I thought she wanted the receipt. I don't know. I mean, she wanted the receipt to claim or whatever.
This isn't a receipt.
I
You
didn't
read
even pay attention.
as
Your Honor.
well. Yeah, you didn't pay attention.
I
You
did.
sign things. All right. You don't pay attention.
Well, I read it. I didn't think she wanted the money
Let me
back.
see.
She didn't. I told her I could never pay it
I
back.
grant the judge all my assets. Let's see if he can read that.
No problem, Your Honor.
That's no excuse, sir. The
didn't
only
say it was an
defen-
excuse. No
yeah,
problem.
well, a defense, legal defense. It's not a legal defense. And unless you can bring me a document saying you signed this when you were mentally incapable of understanding the document that you signed, you were drunk or high or under threat of harm. Now, any of those three fit?
Not at the time, no.
You weren't high. You weren't high that day, huh?
Plaintiff Jody Peterson says her son worked on a crab fishing boat with the defendant, and she claims it's such a dangerous job that her son nearly died when he was hit in the head with an 800-pound fishing pot.
So why haven't you paid her
never
in 2
said that
years?
shit.
How much have you
Nothing.
given her? It's been 2 years.
I never gave
Why
her
not?
nothing. Well, I never felt obligated. I did her a
You
favor.
signed something saying you're gonna pay it. What do you think?
These people cost me a whole fortune.
Shouldn't
Her
have signed it,
boyfriend
sir.
ended up getting a story
How
against
does
me.
she owe you for $2,000? That's your counterclaim for slander. How does she owe you?
She does, well, she owes me because of the loss that I suffered. Her boyfriend, she read the stuff that he said about me over the phone.
Her boyfriend.
What does that have to do with me?
I talk about
They're
the slander.
adults.
It's
They
the
are
slander.
adults, George. They're adults.
That's
My
a-
son is 38 years old. I am not responsible for what my son does.
Had I not offered you many other ways to repay you back?
No,
We're
you
not
have
talking
not.
about that
I
now. We're talking
actually
about the
have.
slander.
I understand that.
What does she have to do with you being slandered?
The whole family is wrong.
What did
Oh.
she do? You're suing her for slander. What did she do?
But she was with her boyfriend. I mean, they were both together. The same thing.
Why would you say things like this?
And you didn't read it to me?
Why? No, and why
I
would
didn't
you
really
say
say you
things?
said that.
What was it
I
about?
don't understand.
It was about the case that we lost.
They had separate cases.
No, yeah.
Nothing to do with each other.
And so you're saying she read something to her boyfriend?
No,
who-
from her boyfriend.
From
which
her
was my
boyfriend.
foreman, yeah.
She just read something someone else said.
Yeah. Well, why would she want $5,000 today? She never said that paper, as you said, they never said it charged interest.
I don't
What
want
do you
to.
mean? We just went over that.
5,000. We started at
She
2,000.
didn't say 5,000. You didn't listen. No, just
did
like you
say-
didn't read, you didn't listen to the lawsuit.
I have
It's
the-
$2,400. That's what she's asking for.
But this is one of the numbers that she asked right before the
I'm telling you what she's asking for today.
Okay.
And what she's asking for is based on this binding contract
Okay.
you signed. So I'm going to grant it to her. Your
Okay.
defense that you didn't read it before signing it is not a legal defense. With regard to the slander, you can't sue her for slander for something someone else said. Have a good day. Yours is
Thank you.
dismissed.
Thank
Yours
you,
is
Your
granted.
Honor.
All right.
What you want me to tell you?
I just can't believe, George.
What do you want me to tell you? You want a hug or something? Come
No,
on,
I don't want
lady.
a hug. I just can't believe
I
you.
got your messages
But
that
you
were
didn't
all
think
ugly
you
for
owed
the
me
last
the
couple of
money.
years.
You didn't think you owed me my money.
I know, you didn't think I'll help your family either, so I saved
you
your
didn't
son's
think-
life.
Well, you owed my.
I guess that doesn't matter. I should have let him die, huh?
He's 38.
I should have let him die.
Well, that's not.
Your boyfriend want
That's
him
your
back on the boat.
That's your true character, George. you
My
know?
character.
Yeah.
I saved your son's life.
That's your true character.